I don't know how well you can see this, but I left on Friday, and I came back Monday, and there is about 2 weeks worth of water damage underneath my sink. There's absolutely no leak, and it is now rotted through this thick ass wood. I think it rots all the way down towards the core of it because it's just mushy as shit. There's no way this could have possibly fucking happened from a drip over a weekend. I mean, some serious damage. And while I was gone, I got quite an interesting call from Ben, and most of it centered around this area right here, which is now fucked up to all of hell. So, we're gonna talk to Ben, get to the bottom of this. Alright, Ben.
Well,
What happened while I was gone?
the first night, today is Monday. Friday night was the first night Dylan was out of town. And I had a bit of trouble sleeping because of, little obnoxious noises and stuff going on in the night. The typical creepy kind of noises that can't really explain whatever, but it was nothing too serious that was happening. It's enough to give me trouble sleeping. So anyways, I wasn't here Saturday night, and last night on Sunday I stayed here, and I am 100% convinced that we are dealing with some very strange paranormal activity here. Because what happened is I had nothing on but the light of the glow of the television, and I went down, lay down in the bed about 15 minutes, so I hadn't fallen asleep yet. I wasn't even that tired. And I started hearing one of the noises that I had heard the 2 nights before that, except it was a lot more exaggerated and, loud and more obnoxious. And what it sounded like was, it sounded like somebody walking, except there was a clicking with it. And the way the pattern of the walk was going, it was like somebody was limping, and kind of limping with one leg, or having one sturdy leg and then dragging the other along with it. There's a clicking noise with it, as if somebody had a leg brace, like a polio brace, and every time they took a step they drug the leg and the brace kind of squeaked and made some noise. That's one thing it sounded like. Or possibly somebody was walking with a pair of boots that had spurs on them. It was a very strange clicking noise, but nonetheless it was recognizable as somebody was walking. And what happens is, as soon as I hear this come down the hallway, I get up and I look around because I'm kind of nervous, and the cat Taz, suddenly she starts freaking out. She darts towards the sliding glass door, mewing and making all this noise.
Mewing?
That's the plural of meowing. And she starts vigorously scratching at the door and looking at it and meowing and making all this noise and pacing back and forth looking outside. And this is right after it happened, and I went out there and there's nothing there, and I laid back down to bed. And throughout the night I kept hearing this strange walking sound, and at one point it came out right in front of my bed, and I was scared shitless. It came out here, and by the time it got to the foot of my bed, it was walking around it, and I had the coldest chill go through my spine and up into my body, and I was sweating profusely. At the same time, this chill it made me feel like my body temperature dropped 20 to 30 degrees. I was freezing and sweating and hot at the same time. And at one point I heard this, whatever was moving around, it walked into the kitchen, turned on the faucet and left. And it did that on and off throughout the night a few times, and I did hear cupboards open. And one thing that kind of is bizarre is when Dylan pointed out this unexplainable sudden water damage, I was thinking, like, that might be relevant to the events of last night because the sink had turned on and was running and the cupboards were opening, so...
Mind you, there's no drip. There is no drip.
There's no-
So someone had to get... There had to be some way for the water to get in there without actually... the doors had to be open for the water to get in there, essentially.
And the water, you cannot see because of the shading in there, but the water stains themselves are uneven, and it's very high in some areas of the cupboard, and absolutely, in the other corner of it, there's absolutely, like, no stain at all.
Right.
So it's like the water was high in some areas and really low in the other. And
Not like it just filled up with some water. Like,
Yeah.
it had been sprayed or... there had to have been some sort of immense amount of water go in there on one side really fast, and that wouldn't happen with any sort of drip.
Yeah, it's a very uneven amount of water, and there was not even any puddling or pooling outside of the cupboard doors. Like, this water, there's just a ton of water there at some point, and it's gone now.
And it somehow rotted all the way through the wood.
Yeah, all the way through the wood.
And this was checked. Oh, by the way, this was checked days before I left. So I was under there, everything was fine. So this happened within the last 5 days.
Yeah, and I
At least.
did dishes this weekend and didn't even notice anything strange. So
Right.
it's bizarre. And another thing that happened is there's nothing running last night. Like, the fridge isn't making noise, the heater, the air conditioning, the washing machine. Like, there's no white noise going on. And after this thing would come out and the water would turn on and it'd turn off and whatever, all of a sudden, like, this apartment was just filled with different white noises, like several different sounds. Didn't know what they were.
What would you like compare them to? Like, was it staticky? Was it?
Well, one was staticky, one was kind of a humming sound maybe, and there's one that almost sounded like electricity, and it was going, I think it was when the water was running, and what I was thinking is, from where I was in the bed, all groggy and like my head turned, and with all the other white noise kind of like creating an atmospheric background of sound, that this spray nozzle here would have been just the right length to be spraying this, and it would explain the unevenness of the puddle and the stain. And also it's kind of an electric sounding spray on it. It could be misconcepted as being, sounding like electricity, especially if there is other interference of white noise in the background and whatnot.
Right.
So this is some very strange things going on, and tonight we have decided to lay down some flour and along the wood here and the floors, and see if we get any tracks or if any other activity takes place tonight. And if anything goes down, we're going to be pulling all-nighters because this is incredible. This is ridiculously crazy.
All right, well, we will report back when we know more.